Tonight, tears in a tiny Texas town.
No, there's no words.
We have new details on the man who gunned down at least 24 people and injured another 20 in the middle of Sunday Mass. Plus, anti-police graffiti in Cape Coral.
And I hate what it said, and we corrected it.
How angry neighbors are now expressing a new message. And a special young girl with a special speech machine until it's stolen. Tonight, the sheriff's offer to the thief to get that girl the help she needs.
Live from ABC 7, this is News at 11.
And tonight, hearts are heavy in Sutherland Springs, Texas. People of the community gathered across from the shooting scene to honor the 26 people who lost their lives. 20 others were hurt in that shooting. Here's what we know right now about the situation. Officials say the gunman, Devin Kelly, wore all black, had a ballistic vest strapped to his chest, and a military-style rifle when he opened fire inside of that church. We also know the gunman served in the Air Force base, at a base in New Mexico. Investigators say the victims of the shooting range anywhere from 5 to 72 years old. And tonight, we're also getting a new picture of one of the victims in this case, the pastor's 14-year-old daughter. Reporter Andy Rose is in Texas tonight, getting us more on what the governor is calling the worst shooting in the state's history.
Be with us, dear, as we learn to deal with this.
Another American community in shock Sunday after a gunman opened fire on a church service in Texas, killing more than 24 people.
We are dealing with the largest mass shooting in our state's history. There's so many families. We've lost family members.
The First Baptist Church of Sutherland Springs is a small congregation, as you can see in this video from a service recorded a week before the shooting. A worker at a nearby convenience store heard the shots ring out.
We were flabbergasted. There's just no reason for something like that to take place, especially here where everybody's family.
Investigators say the gunman shot people both inside and outside the church and continued his assault until an armed neighbor intervened. Police say the suspect fled and that they later found him dead inside his vehicle.
At this time, we don't know if it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound or if he was shot by our local resident who engaged him in gunfire.
President Trump is in Japan, the first stop of his tour of Asia, but says he is keeping an eye back home.
Through the tears and through the sadness, we stand strong, oh so strong.
As investigators search for a motive and neighbors search for their own answers. I'm Andy Rose reporting.
Andy, thanks. Vice President Mike Pence tweeted about the shooting. He said he and Karen send their prayers to the victims and families involved in that shooting. He also thanked first responders for their hard work. Also, former President Obama showing his sympathy to the victims in this shooting. In his tweet, he wrote, he and his family grieve with all the families harmed by the act. He says he hopes God grants the wisdom to figure out the steps to stop the violence in this country. Mass shootings at places of worship haven't happened often, but there are 3 you may remember. In 2012, a massacre took place at a temple in Oak Creek, Wisconsin. The gunman shot and killed 6 worshipers before turning the gun on himself. In 2015, 9 people were killed in a shooting at a church in Charleston, South Carolina. Investigators say Dylan Roof walked into that church and started shooting. Roof was convicted last year for those shootings, and in September, a deadly shooting happened at a church near Nashville, Tennessee. 1 person was killed and multiple people were hurt in that shooting. The gunman was charged with 1 count of murder. ABC 7 will continue to follow this shooting tonight and into the morning. We'll bring you the latest details in all of our newscasts and online at abc-7.com. We do have breaking news tonight. A recent stranger danger case out of Lee County has just been ruled a misunderstanding. Deputies stopped a silver SUV in Lehigh Acres while on routine patrol. They started looking for the vehicle after a girl claimed that the driver tried to lure her away from her home. After interviewing the driver, deputies determined no crime was actually committed. They say he was simply trying to warn the girl to back away from the road. Deputies also say there was a language barrier in the case. Police are searching for a killer tonight after a 25-year-old was shot and killed in Naples. Police say Franklin Francois was shot in the stomach near a shopping plaza on 6th Avenue North between Goodlet Frank Road and US 41. ABC 7's Nestor Montoya is live at the scene tonight, where a memorial is now growing for Franklin. Nestor.
I'm just feet from where Franklin Francois was shot. Witnesses say when that bullet struck him, he walked to this area and fell in this spot. Tonight, a memorial with flowers and candles is growing. A heavy police presence swarmed the area close by a Naples shopping plaza early Sunday morning.
That's the first time that happened on this plaza. That plaza was always a quiet one. You know, we never got any hurt, any problem. That's the first time.
It was the scene of what police are calling a homicide. The victim identified as 25-year-old Franklin Francois, who was shot in the stomach just before 2 a.m.
No one deserves to die like this.
Ruben Cesas was inside his taxi service business in the plaza when he heard the shots and immediately ran outside to help Franklin.
I couldn't sleep at all. You know, I feel I could have done more. You know, and I wish I did.
Franklin was rushed to Naples Community Hospital, where he later died from his injuries. The community anxious to know who pulled the trigger.
I'm shocked because I never seen that in my life since I came here.
Police don't have a description of the suspect, and at this time, no arrests have been made. We're live in Naples. Nestor Montoya, ABC 7.
Nestor, thanks. The North Fort Myers Fire Control District is mourning the loss of one of their own tonight. Florida Highway Patrol says Lieutenant Jeremy Savinsky died in a motorcycle crash. FHP says the lieutenant was riding his motorcycle on Alico Road in South Lee County when he changed lanes and hit the back of another car. Troopers say Jeremy was thrown from his bike. The North Fort Myers Fire Control District posted on Facebook saying in part, "Rest in peace, brother. You will be missed." Well, this weekend marks a major milestone in the Hurricane Irma recovery process for Bonita Springs. The Wonder Gardens reopened today. More than half of their property was destroyed by Hurricane Irma. 75% of the Wonder Gardens operating costs come from revenue generated by ticket and gift shop sales. Those who run the attraction say they appreciate the city's support to get the place back up and running.
You know, it wasn't easy, but at the same time, with the strength of the community, over 1,000 hours of volunteerism, which is worth $23 per hour, and 200 different volunteers, you know, it was incredible to see the community step up and be part of the team.
And they did get some additional help. The Wonder Gardens also received a $3,000 donation from the Rotary Club of Bonita Springs. Let's get you more now at 11. Collier County is hosting a relief concert called Naples is Rocking. It's Saturday, September 9th and Sunday, September 10th. Local and national acts will be performing. Organizers say the goal of this concert is to make sure people know Naples and the surrounding areas are in good shape after Hurricane Irma. The event will be held at Naples Square. All proceeds and donations will go towards Hurricane Irma relief efforts. A Cape Coral neighborhood was vandalized with a profane message against police. The message was spray painted onto a portion of Southwest 12th Place, just off of Mohawk Parkway. Neighbors found the message in gold paint on Friday morning. One neighbor reported the vandalism to the city so it could be cleaned up. Another neighbor, though, just down the street, took matters into his own hands and spray painted over that message.
We don't want that nonsense in our neighborhood or any place. And I hate what it said, and we corrected it.
The neighbors are hoping the city does send someone to clean up that graffiti tomorrow. Looking ahead to tomorrow, Governor Rick Scott will be in Fort Myers. He'll be talking about his proposed tax cuts for next year's budget. Governor Scott will make the announcement at Alafab USA at 9 tomorrow morning. ABC 7 will get you more on what happens during his announcement. Hundreds of dollars in fines could be heading your way if you're caught with a straw on Fort Myers Beach. Tomorrow morning, Fort Myers Beach Council votes on if they should fine people who bring straws to the beach. The rules would also apply to restaurants providing straws. Council members say this is an effort to cut back drastically on water contamination. If it passes, you could face a fine of up to $500. Coming up, a tornado touches down in Ohio. Don't miss the destructive video and the damage it caused. That's coming up. And a little later, a young girl with special needs has her speech device stolen. Get more on the sheriff's offer to get the thief to give it back.